Time to get our HD Nation on, the high-definition multimedia interface. You might notice HDMI makes it easy to connect our home theater devices while providing pristine audio and sound quality. And the next big thing that we've been watching limp along is HDMI for wireless. In fact, we've substituted the fine wired HDMI connection in the monitor behind me for wireless HDMI.
There we go.
I'm in a field of flowers.
And actually on that screen behind you is full 1080p video showing right now at high bitrate. This is a Blu-ray sample at about 35 to 40 megabit, and there's Pat trying to block the receiver on the product.
Well, it used to be, right, wireless HDMI, if you walked in front of it, like the feed would cut out. And
As Patrick rotates around, there it is. Again, the receiver on the top of the TV with the bracket. That's the DVDO Air, actually. And we have two different products we'll be talking about that take slightly different approaches to accomplishing a similar goal, basically eliminating that hardwired link between your source devices and the display itself.
Yeah. Well, there is a hardwired link from the wireless receiver to the home theater itself, or the HD TV itself, and from the source.
Totally, and it requires a power connection, as you can see there as well, going to the transmitter, the smaller cable. But that link, though, from that little device right on the top there to the transmitter, sitting here on we're actually driving this off of a PlayStation 3. Pretty good. Now, DVDO Air from DVDO, the good folks there, has an MSRP of $399, and it should be coming out March 6th. I can actually show the website right there. And also, we're looking at Belkin Screencast AV4, $250 online price. There's that. And for the Belkin Screencast, there's their website. Available now, actually, shipping for a list price of $249. I've actually seen it online for just under $235. Now, Screencast is a WHDI compliant device, the wireless home digital interface. You can take a look at the two products right there. WHDI Consortium was formed by Anomom, Hitachi, Motorola, Samsung, Sharp, Sony, and LG. And the Screencast utilizes that unlicensed 5 gigahertz band to deliver up to 1080p video as well as 5.1 sound wirelessly.
So it's interesting. So the Belkin includes basically 4 HDMI inputs, so you can switch.
And it acts as a full switch too, which is one of the more compelling functions of it. It actually integrates that 4-port switching function right there.
Is it compressing? I mean, how much is it compressing? Because I'm looking at this, and there's a lot going on in this picture, and I'm not seeing. I think wireless. I think painful compression and just. But this actually, are you seeing any artifacts or any induced compression? Are they sending a full 1080p stream?
Uncompressed. Now, for the DVDO Air, it's using what they call wireless HD technology, or WIHD. It operates in an unlicensed 60 gigahertz band. So this technically has a lot more headroom in terms of bandwidth available for moving data, but both of these products have enough to do full 1080p 60 video, along with up to 5.1 or 7.1 in the case of the DVDO Air channels of audio as well. Now, these aren't really, you don't really care so much about the audio side of it. It's mainly just getting that 1080p video to your display device. Now, both products support, or they claim to support at least, multiple transmitters if desired.
Right.
Notice it's not receivers. Actually, that would be a little more problematic, because then you could probably hand one to your neighbor then and have a wireless. You become basically a little local broadcaster within your neighborhood. I don't see any multiple receiver products yet, but multiple transmitters are available if you have multiple devices to connect.
If you're thinking about, like,
device.
I have one cable TV box and I want it to be on 7 HD TVs around my house,
you need a different
product.
product. No. Definitely not. For the DVDO Air 2, they actually include some nifty hardware for either mounting it as we have on the top, a little bracket that just hooks on top of the TV, or even a wall mount bracket. So if you want to mount it to the wall behind the set, if the set itself is wall mounted, you can have that as well. Both of these devices are claiming about 100-foot range, or about 30 meters when positioned line of sight. It's going to be likely much less if you need to punch through a wall.
Right.
In my test lab setup, I was at about 20-foot range. And going through walls, I could interrupt the signal by walking in front of it. However, with the line of sight, I was having very good performance. It's surprisingly robust.
It's kind of freaking me out, because like even putting me in between it and the
there it went. And you've done it. You put enough water between and bone between the transmitter and receiver.
If you're just walking by this, it's not going to cut out. That's actually kind of interesting.
I didn't have that issue, and chances are somebody's not going to lay on top of it. The ideal mounting position for these devices would be up high above everyone's head if possible.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned for the Screencast, it also functions as a 4-port HDMI switch, which is really kind of nice. And it has it also includes a little remote too for remote switching between the ports. It also has a nice on-screen menu system, pretty basic, but it does allow you to label the ports too. So you can have things like, oh, this is my cable box connected, this is my game console, things like that. And one obvious feature I found kind of missing from this was auto switching or sensing of the HDMI inputs. And I just pretty much gave Belkin an idea for version 2 of the product. Now, the Air's transmitter DVDO product, it's a single HDMI port on the back. And it's same with the receiver as well. It's about as easy to set up as it gets. You literally just connect everything, power up your devices, and it's going to work just great.
So normally instead of a PS3, it might be your AV receiver here.
Totally.
And you're good to go.
Ideally, it will be whatever. For the Air, you'd want it to be, say, your AV receiver where all your devices are plugged into that, and you need just that one connection going to the display device.
Okay.
That's really what it's for. And in my testing, I threw a variety of high-quality 1080p resolution patterns, detail tests. It passed everything as far as that I could throw at it. Except, of course, if you can just wrap your body around it and break a signal that way. But as far as maintaining uncompressed 1080p video to the screen, DVDO Air was just phenomenal. The Screencast AV4, on the other hand, hiccuped on one particular test that relates to color upsampling. It was really kind of an odd bug that Belkin and I are continuing to investigate, and I'm hoping it's minor enough. It didn't appear to really affect the video samples I watched, but it was the one oddity in the product that was just kind of like, And I was also able to get a menu to get stuck on screen. That was kind of annoying, but the reset button took care of that without a problem.
Cool.
Bottom line really is that I'm really impressed that we now have products that deliver uncompressed 1080p 60 video wirelessly. And they're doing this without none of the picture softening compression of that first generation of HDMI products, wireless HDMI products that surfaced briefly a couple of years ago. Also, AV sync issues were negligible. After I minimized the lag of my own home theater hardware, I compared both devices directly using actually one of the patterns, AV sync pattern that's on the Disney Wow disc. It's actually pretty good. I found no noticeable AV lag in the presentation between both devices. It wasn't adding any delay or sync issue between the audio and video coming from my source devices.
So gaming might be a possibility on this.
I really do believe you won't have it introducing anything beyond what your other devices are already introducing into the stream. You're more likely to be dealing with video processing on the TV for lag, and that's something else we should really get into at some point. But I also really appreciated the additional installation options and just overall the solid performance of DVDO Air. Although it is a more expensive product, at least the MSRP, I'm curious to see how it's going to be priced online once it is released on March 6th. The Belkin Screencast AV4 is selling for less than $235 online right now, and that basic 4-port HDMI switch makes it a tempting deal for cool technology, especially if the quirks I encountered, minor quirks, aren't total deal breakers.
There you have it.
That's it. I'm really pleased with what's happening, and the price points. We're not talking $1,000 like we were for a couple years ago for some of those initial products.
Well, $250, $500
for uncompressed technology.
Is that going to be $500 MSRP or street?
I want to say it's $399 MSRP. So I don't know what the street price is going to be. I'll be curious to see what that will be for the DVDO Air.
I bet it'll be lower.
Yes, me too.
Want to see what 100? By the way, I hit pause on the Blu-ray player. This is not a failed transmitting equipment.